Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and today we're going to do something a little bit different. You see on screen right now is Chaos Gate Daemonhunters, a game that I've been very curious about ever since they announced it, and well, it's because I'm a big fan of the Grey Knights. It's just simple as that. It's one of my armies that I play in Warhammer 40,000, and thankfully, due to some nice communication, I've been granted some exclusive alpha footage that myself and other creators have access to. So it's playing around in the background as you can see. It's about an 8-minute clip, so we're going to talk about it as there's quite a lot to discuss. This game is quite hype worthy. It's still alpha footage as you can see. There's a little disclaimer at the very bottom, so anything that you do see can change, like any stats and all that type of stuff, but then again it's still very early days. Also, before anything, if you're curious as to what you can compare this to, the style of gameplay is very similar to that of XCOM. You're probably very familiar with that, where you've got a force, you're able to customize your units and so on. This is a very small squad that you'll be controlling of Grey Knights, and you're able to customize them quite heavily with different skin tones, different armor, different looks. It's pretty nice as it's very highly customizable from what we can see. Keep in mind that I've not played this game, this is just footage that I've been granted access to. And the comparison of that to XCOM is more based on familiarity, as obviously some people would like to link it up to some other type of franchise to see some similar type of play. So it's pretty interesting because obviously the Grey Knights have never really had too much of a time in the sun, more or less. It's a Space Marine game, yes, but the Grey Knights are very drastically different as they focus around hunting down and exterminating any demonic threats. Which, as we're all aware, in the Warhammer 40,000 universe, there's a lot of demons and they need to be expunged. You and your Grey Knights must go around the campaign and try and expunge this plague known as the Bloom, which is causing a lot of trouble throughout this sector. What you'll also know is that you'll fight against not only demons of Nurgle, but also the Death Guard, one of the traitor legions dedicated to the Ruinous Powers, this one specifically dedicated to Nurgle, which is led by a demon Primarch known as Mortarion. So we've seen a little bit regarding the campaign map and so on, but now we're starting to see a bit more with regards to customization, and there is quite a lot. You can see, obviously, since your squad is very small, obviously the Grey Knights don't really go in large numbers, there's not too many of them. Having the possibility of customizing them and making them unique to your own standards and so on is quite interesting. Obviously switching out their armor, being able to change out their weapons, this is going to make it so you can feel quite invested with these characters. I have been told that yes, these individual units can die and you might get too attached. Or at least I will. So if you're a gamer like me where you just go guns blazing, that might not work out. Hey, it could, but you never know. Now the forces themselves are going to start making their way into a mission where they're going to showcase how the gameplay works and so on. I haven't been provided with a lot of footage, but I feel like it shows quite a lot of bit for alpha state at the very least, where we can start to see the missions themselves being focused around moving to different objectives and so on. You might have to take out a target, which might be quite dangerous. There are loads of different things, but you can see that the gameplay map itself is quite stylized. Your characters can jump over ledges and so on, and try to get into a better vantage point. You can have them just standing behind cover to protect themselves and so on, which is obviously very important in these types of games, as you want to be able to use your terrain as strategically as possible. It's quite an interesting feat, as, well, you never really expect something like this when it comes to a Space Marine game. Most Space Marine games you're going in guns blazing, and obviously since this is turn-based, it's got a little bit of that aspect as far as I can see, as Grey Knights really aren't known too much for stealth, but they can still hide out, they can protect themselves. There's quite an interesting system here. It's looking quite good in all honesty. Obviously, again, alpha footage and so on, but it's looking fairly smooth for what it is. You can see quite a lot of different things happening. It looks like you're going to be able to have a lot of different actions, which is a good thing, obviously, because variety is the spice of life, and you don't want to have the same thing happening over and over again. It's quite interesting. I'm very hyped up for this game, as I said before. The fact is that you can see cover being done quite well. There's a few different close-ups of your units and your enemies. The Death Guard look absolutely awesome. I'm a big fan of these types of units, so I'm quite looking forward to seeing what more is to come. I'm assuming that more and more footage will be dropping, as they have been posting loads of different clips and so on their official YouTube channel, and if I can remember, I'll have it linked in the description below, as loads of information is provided about all the different units. You can learn about them, what exactly their speciality is, and so so on. It's a great thing. I'm pretty hyped up for this. Like I said, it gives me one of those vibes of an XCOM type game, which is the one that I know the most in terms of this style, so anything like that is quite cool because I'm a big fan of these types of games. The game itself has been given a release date already, which is May the 5th. I've been told that myself, and it should be available for pre-order now. And as we can see, the animations look pretty cool. You can see stuff like grenades being thrown and so on, terrain being broken, which is really, really impressive for these types of games. You want to see stuff being exploded and that because you're in a small area, but you want to have that feel that this is still a 40k game, especially if you're playing as a Space Marine, well, a Grey Knight, where you want to be able to see stuff break. I mean, it's just really important. Like I said, the game is turn-based, but it looks to be fairly quick, as even when the enemy has their turn, obviously this is one of these things where there's very little enemies on screen right now, they are quite fast at reacting, and this is quite important for these types of games, because there's a few out there which are of this style, and they're just incredibly slow. Though as the video progresses more and more, you see more stuff arrive and so on, and it's quite impressive. I know I've been saying that a lot, but this is something I've been quite hyped for, and hopefully this continues to be like this. I've always been a bit worried when it comes to Warhammer games, but we've never really had a lot of alpha footage being shown for a lot of Warhammer games, especially from something that looks this decent. Turn-based games like this give you a bit of a tabletop feel, and that's the most important thing, especially when it comes to a Warhammer game, because, well, yeah, you know, Warhammer is based on tabletop, it's what the main thing was, and, well, still is, and it's quite cool. I'm really, really curious, especially with the loadout for the Grey Knights, as many different items are in their codex and so on. I wonder, as we are aware that Adam Bowden is the one who wrote this lore, but is it also going to have a basis of the 9th edition codex with the items available there? Just for fun factor, really, as that's always kind of fun, especially if you can go back to your army book and you're seeing loads more enemies showing up at this point. There's even Chaos Cultists too, and we get a good look at them, and they just look really, really, really good. It's a really important thing. I'm just kind of pleasantly surprised, to be honest, how alpha footage is looking so good, because in most cases they'll just show, what, like 30 seconds of gameplay, but this is 8 minutes. This is still something fairly large. The game is looking rather promising. Hopefully we won't have to wait more for information, as I said before, and I will keep you guys updated because this is something that's been on my radar for some time now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to let this play out now, as you can then hear the game, you can hear the sounds and all that, and just get a gist on how everything is without any interruption from someone mindlessly speaking. So with all that being said, let me know what you think about this game so far, as I'm very much looking forward to possibly covering this on the channel.
Orders.
So the game itself sounds pretty cool, doesn't it? And there's just a few things to talk about here. So you've seen a few varieties of different enemies. I do have a list of some. I'm not sure if this is all of them, but some of the enemies in the game are, for example, Poxwalkers, Hellbrutes, Plague Bearers, Plague Marines, Blight Lord Terminators, Blight Haulers, Apostate Preachers, and Fetid Bloat Drones. That's quite a lot of the Death Guard Codex, in all honesty, so there's a lot of enemy variety there, and you can see that the game itself just keeps continuing to impress. Later on you'll start to see, for example, being able to blow up a bridge and so on. It's rather interesting, as there's a lot of customability, there's a lot of stuff that it looks like you can do in the game. I just can't wait to see more, really. Now, unfortunately, I'm going to have to let it off here, but I'm sure some other creators are showing off some stuff. It looks really, really impressive. I can't wait to see more. I really, really hope that this has a lot of potential, because Grey Knights are super, super cool, and I think that they deserve a lot more attention than, say, for example, the bog standard Space Marine. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and let's start a bit of a discussion, because I feel like there's a lot to discuss here. But with that, my friends, we've come to the end of our video. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, might I suggest giving the video a like, or even subscribing to the channel, as it really does help us out. In the description section below are various links to different social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, and Discord. Also in the description section is an affiliate link with Element Games where you could buy loads of hobby-based products, not just Warhammer, for 10 to 25% off. Making a purchase using that link and also our special code, which is also in the description, supports the channel at no extra cost to you, which we think is rather cool. A big thank you to our patrons. Your support means the world to us. It's amazing that people want to help a small channel like us grow and get to a higher level of content. A big thank you to Gibraltar LUSC, Ryan Bertsche, Andrew Prince, and Okro for subscribing to us at our Fane level. You guys are super cool. And a big thank you to Edward Yule, VS Vasan, Aaron Whitman, and Shaggy for subscribing to us at our King level. Honestly, we can't thank you all enough. And lastly, a big thank you to all of you for liking, sharing, and commenting on these videos. Honestly, it's because of you guys that the channel's been growing at such a great pace lately, so we can't thank you all enough. But with that, my friends, thank you so much for watching once again, and we shall see you all again very, very soon. Have a good day.